my gosh, hi, and welcome to the first day of the 12 days of BRITTMAS. And for this first project we're going to do is a cute little replica of a Nintendo Switch. And this is a perfect little treat box for any of the gamers in your life, or even just for a Happy Meal. So if you want to see how this is made, stay tuned. We're going to start off with the base of our box and go ahead and smooth out those score lines. Now we are going to completely remove these middle tabs that are in the center of the box. And then moving on to the other side, these tiny little rectangles, we're going to completely remove those. And of course, I cut the top part at a little notch. And then we're going to cut up on the score line for the next little tabs. And I'm just removing a little bit of it as well, about half of it, just so it tucks in a little bit better. Now that we're done with that, we're just going to go ahead and push that to the side. So now for our next pieces, we are going to create the actual handle portion that is on the side of the Nintendo Switch. So for your little side panels, you're going to put it on your scoreboard or whatever, or use a ruler, and you are going to mark it at 1.5. And then for your little flanges, I don't know what to call these, you're going to mark them at 1 inch. And you're going to do that to all of your pieces. And to create that curved edge, I am going to use my crocodile, and I'm only going to round off just the 2 corners on the one side. So we're going to take our little flanges. I don't know what to call it, so just bear with me. Let's just go with it. With that 1 inch mark that we had made, we are going to cut at a little angle on the side there, and then we're going to completely remove that by cutting up on the score line. You'll understand this later. Trust me, I promise. And then we're just going ahead and smooth out our score lines, and we're going to repeat this process to our other little flange. Now you're going to start off with one of your panels, and you want to make sure you're doing it with your curved side, your area that you did your corner rounding. And you are going to mark right before that corner begins to curve, and you're just going to cut tiny little notches in your piece, and then go ahead and try to measure it out, make sure that you cut enough, and then you're going to line it up again so you can cut the next portion. And then when you're done with that, you're going to go and flip it over on the other side and try to match it up as well as you can. Then we're going to repeat this process with our other one. And if you're lazy like me, you can go ahead and just match it right on top of each other and cut your little notches out, your little fans or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. But go ahead and just line them up together and cut them out. But if you don't trust yourself, then you can go ahead and do it the same way that you did with your first one and just kind of measure it out and get everything cut. Now on to the tedious part. We are going to line up that part right up where we made our marking and start attaching it. Take your time and go slow with it. Trust me, I've made a few mistakes. Make sure that you are doing it with your corner round side to your left if you're right-handed like me. But otherwise, you want to make sure that you are going on the side of where you did your corner rounding. And then you're just going to finish going around and completing it, but you're not going to glue the last portion yet. You're going to go a little bit past that little marking that you made at that 1.5 on the bottom, and you are going to cut off a sliver of your little flange. And you are going to replicate what you did at the top. So you're going to cut your little notches and then remove that piece up on the score line. So you'll see why later. Trust me on this. Now just take your scissor and cut little notches on those little hanging flaps. And then now we are going to adhere the other side. And then once it's complete, you're going to replicate it on your other little side panels. Next, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut little notches off on those front little portions that are on the non-corner round side. And we're going to do that to both. Now you can bring your box back and adhere your side panels together. Now we are going to take our side panels and you are going to go over the side of your box. So that's why you have those little flappy things. You're going to fold one on the inside, and I advise you do the inside one first because it'll help keep your everything even. And then you are going to repeat that to the other side, and once you get it all put together, go ahead and lay down your flaps. And the whole reason for cutting the notches, when you are matting your pieces on top of it to cover it up, if you are a person who does a border, you want to make sure that those side pieces are not poking out. Now I'm taking my first layering pieces and I am going to round all four of the corners to match up with the corner rounding to the box itself, and I'm just going to lay that right on top on both sides. And then now I'm just going to take some strips that measure a little less than 1 inch, and this is going to go on the edge of my box, making sure I don't go over the box opening. Next, we're going to work on creating the screen. The actual box itself is 5.5 inches wide. So I have my first piece at 5.5 inches, and then each piece after that is just 1/8 of an inch smaller. So I have my base piece, and then I added a holographic piece, and then I have the black piece for like if your screen is off. And then I'm just layering those right on top of each other, and then I'm going to lay it on to my box. And to make sure that you are positioning it properly, open up the flap of your box so then that way you can see, because you want it to be within that space. For this next part, if you want to look up a picture of a Nintendo Switch to kind of help guide you, I would strongly suggest doing that, because telling you all I did was eyeball everything. So I'm working on creating my joystick portions, and I am going to punch out 6 smaller circles and then 2 larger circles, and all these circles are like way less than 1 inch, so don't go any bigger than that. I think like the one is like 1/2 inch and the other one's like maybe 1/4. And I'm adding the small circle in the bottom little insides next to the screen. And then I am taking my bigger circle and I am punching holes in the side panels to where roughly I think one of the joysticks are going to go, and I'm doing that on the right side, and then I'm going to do that on the left side. The reason why I'm poking holes is because I'm going to be adding brads on the inside. Now of course you can't close the brads, but it's just to give that whole joystick impression. You don't have to do that. This is just something that I wanted to do, but it was just use what you have. You know, don't worry about going out and buying anything special. Just use what you already have in your stash, because that's exactly what I did, all right? And so After that, I'm going to add my little circles. Now, the marker does not write on glitter paper very well. I'll tell you that right now. So if you have alpha letters that are extremely tiny, go for it. I definitely didn't, but like I said, the marker does not show up well on the glitter paper. So if you want to use solid color paper and do it, but you want to do an X, a Y, an A, and a B. And then we're going to put them at the top of the right side of the joystick, and this is to replicate the buttons. And so in case you don't know, the Y is at the top, B is at the bottom, A is to the right, and X is to the left. And then we're going to put it in a diamond shape. Then I'm just going to take some pom-poms and I'm going to add them on top of those brads just to give it a little pizzazz. And then I'm going to take that same glitter paper that I used and I am going to make a janky, a janky little type of tic-tac-toe looking board, or however you want it. I don't have anything to trace to make a plus sign, so if you do, go for it. I do not. So like I said, I'm just making a janky little piece to make like the little directional buttons that are on the switch. And then that's going to get placed right there, kind of like in the middle, right underneath the joystick and our little replica button. And then after that, it's all you. If you want to look just like a switch, go for it. If you want to decorate it all up and go crazy, have fun, do you, boo. I would love to see what you do. And I hope you guys enjoyed this very first video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.